Welcome to Fight Back. We'll see how some of those so-called unbreakable product containers hold up in a real fight back, bash, bang, and zap endurance test. Counterfeit auto parts can be deadly. You'll see how the automakers smash the phonies to protect their turf. Rear seat, lap, and shoulder belts in autos are not mandatory. Should they be? We'll look at the pros and cons of the issue. And we'll show you how some women are learning to protect themselves against attackers by using the techniques of street fighters. All this right here on... It seems nowadays that more and more products are being made in unbreakable jars and bottles. Now, you'd think that most people would love the idea of averting a possible mess. They do. But they don't believe that the packaging is unbreakable. For example, this letter from Kerry Barney, who lives in Bellevue, Washington. Kerry wants us to challenge Jif's unbreakable plastic peanut butter jar. Sandra Hinton, who lives in Holyrood, Kansas, wants us to test out the Peter Pan jar that says that it is indestructible. And Michael Aiken, who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, asked that we put the new Tide detergent snap top box to the test. Tide claims it supposedly will stay closed even after falling down a flight of stairs. Okay, let's do it. But first, we have with us a tester, Elliot Scott. Elliot, how old are you?
5.
5 years old. Now, Elliot, do you ever drop jars on the floor at home?
No.
You don't, but you're going to help us do this now to see if the bottles won't break? Okay, first of all, Elliot, why don't we take the Peter Pan peanut butter and have you drop it, and let's see what happens to the jar, okay? 1, 2, 3, go! What happened, Elliot?
It doesn't break.
It doesn't break. Okay. Now, let's move over very carefully and try the Jif peanut butter in the unbreakable jar. You ready? Let's go. It didn't break. Does that surprise you? All right, now, Elliot, I've got one. Tide with a new box and the top that's not supposed to open, even if it falls down a flight of stairs. What we're going to do is give Tide a flip. And it also passed the challenge. The snap top didn't come open. That wasn't very exciting, was it, Elliot?
No.
I don't think so either. We thought, why not put it through a real fight-back challenge? Remember the Tyco toy car commercial? Now that was a real test.
Here comes fun on wheels. Tyco Turbo Hoppers. These sons of guns pack turbocharged engines. With your kids at the radio controls, there ain't no place they can't go. Turn them and they slip under, over, around the darndest places. Send them cannonballing off a cliff. Yahoo! If it's the one and only Tyco Turbo Hopper, it's a winner.
We put that commercial to a challenge on a past program. We took the Tyco toy racer out into the wilderness. We put it through a real cross-country endurance race. It bounced and crashed over rocks, gullies, and cliffs. But it kept on running right up to the very end, just like it did on the commercial. So why not give our unbreakable and shatterproof peanut butter jars and the Tide Snap Top box the same treatment that we gave Tyco?
There they go!
We'll have this shattering race as Fight Back continues. Our Tyco racer is on the starting line and raring to go. Challenging Tyco are 3 contenders. Tide with the new snap top, the unbreakable Peter Pan, the indestructible Jif.
There they go!
The race is over, and a very irritated Tyco racer is in 4th place. Tide, as you saw, was spraying soap powder all over. But did that snap top open? No! The box finally gave way under all the stress. Jif came through it okay, but a little bruised and scratched. But what about Peter Pan? Uh-oh. There's the top. And the jar. The Unbreakable didn't break, but it was finished. Who's next? Okay, Tyco, we'll use you on another challenge. But let's see what happened to our Unbreakable products, and of course the Tide box with the new snap top on it. Actually, it did pretty well. I mean, the snap top stayed in place, but it separated from the box. As far as Jif is concerned, passed the challenge, got a little dirty. It's undented, unbroken, looks terrific. Now let's take a look inside and see what it's like. Ooh. Still sealed. And finally, Peter Pan. I want to tell you the jar looks fantastic. A little scratched along the top. Looks like it's intact. No dents, no cracks. Let's see what the... Ah! You skunked me! Boy, was I surprised and shocked. It was a fitting revenge for all the other times we pulled this stunt to make people aware of reading labels. We now go from Unbreakable product containers to smashing counterfeit auto parts. What would you think if you found out that your auto mechanic was using counterfeit parts? Does it really matter? It sure does if that part fails. If a belt or hose breaks, you could be stranded. If a counterfeit ignition part fails, your engine could die. But if a bogus brake part or steering component fails, you could be seriously injured or possibly even killed. GM showed us a haul of seized merchandise a while back at its parts distribution center in Santa Fe Springs, California. 3 truckloads of bogus car parts and packaging with a wholesale value of more than $360,000. There was everything from phony brake parts and electrical components to wheel covers.
Anything replaceable is counterfeited that I've seen. Many of the parts are actually hazardous to the safety of the ultimate consumer. The disc brake pads and brake shoes that I have actually seen so soft that I could scratch and gouge with my fingernail. In the Mid-East, we've seen brake parts that were actually made out of compressed cardboard. Other items include carburetor filters and gas filters, fan belts. I've seen very shoddy fan belts passed off as genuine GM, and they're counterfeit, that were made in India. And you've got to realize that the fan belt, in many instances, controls your power steering and your power brakes. And the failure there, of course, could be fatal.
There's a lot of counterfeiting going on in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Korea, Singapore, and India. But surprisingly, General Motors says 60% of the bogus parts they seize are made right here in this country. When manufacturers' agents and law enforcement bust someone for making or selling phony car parts, the bogus goods are seized and destroyed, and the counterfeiters are prosecuted.
We're not stopping with this. We've conducted 51 raids in this country so far, and as you can see, we destroy the material. Some of the people are in jail. Some are, if not, there's a permanent injunction against them, and there's been some very stiff monetary fines levied against them.
You don't necessarily have to buy factory-made parts from a factory-authorized dealer. Many legitimate manufacturers make quality parts for most makes of automobiles. Just be sure that the parts that go into your car come from a company that will stand behind what it manufactures. Well, look at this. They are actually checking to see how charged up our horror file is with letters from you, our viewers. And I have a couple of pre-selected ones, and I could just feel the energy and the electricity coming from them. So I'll read them. The first one comes from B. Statler, who lives in Beechwood, Ohio. B writes, "Thought you might find the enclosed amusing. The sign says, quote, 'We are growing. Come join us.' Now, if you look behind the sign, there is a cemetery. What an invitation. Actually, the sign is in front of an adjacent church. The placement of the sign makes it a little eerie, though." Our next letter comes from Judith Brooks, who lives in Omro, Wisconsin. Here is a clipping, she says, from the Oshkosh, Wisconsin Northwestern. It concerns a Vietnam veteran statue in Oshkosh. Note, quote, "The statue can be seen from 1 to 4:30 p.m. Tuesday at Cops Parking Lot on West Kohler Road. Short speeches will be given by the statue beginning at 1:30 p.m., end quote. Imagine that, a talking statue. Well, Judith, I doubt that the statue actually speaks, but I also find it hard to believe that the people who will be giving the speeches by, next to, and near the statue will really be giving, quote, short speeches. But we're going to send you a Fight Back t-shirt and a copy of our theme for being so observant and also for having such a great sense of humor. And we'll be right back as Fight Back continues. It is necessary, but sometimes it just sounds boring to keep reminding people to fasten their seatbelts in their cars. But auto seat and shoulder belts do save lives, and they are mandatory. But what about lap and shoulder belts in the rear seats of cars? Like this brand new Cadillac, where it's being done voluntarily. Should they also be mandatory? Well, Congress is trying to get the facts. Crash tests have shown that rear seat belts offer a certain amount of protection in the event of an accident. But that can also cause serious spinal and abdominal injuries, especially to young children. A lap belt is better than no belt at all, but consumer safety groups say that requiring lap and shoulder harnesses in the rear seat could prevent hundreds of deaths and injuries every year. The administration's policy, however, has been to encourage manufacturers to install rear seat belts voluntarily. Why can't it be mandated by law that manufacturers are required to put the three-point belts in the back seats?
It can be mandated by law, and as a matter of fact, we have a rulemaking working right now, proceeding in the mix. But in the meantime, we have also worked very hard with the car companies to get them to put the belts in voluntarily, because even if we finish our rulemaking later this year, it would be another 18 months to 2 years before that rule would take effect. In the meantime, what we really want people to do is to remember to put the belt on, even if it's only a lap belt in the rear seat. And I think there's been some controversy about that, and I think a number of people have gotten scared to wear the lap belt in the rear seat, and that is it's bad information. We want people to wear that lap belt in the rear seat if that's the system that their car has now.
The House subcommittee is expected to recommend that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration make rear seat and shoulder belts mandatory on all new cars, and that automakers be required to make low-cost kits available to people who own older models so that they can have them installed or install them themselves. Now, it's difficult to say what effect the subcommittee's recommendations will have other than to prod officials of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. But a representative of the auto industry told the committee by 1990, most new cars will have lap and shoulder belts in the back seats as standard equipment. We've done a number of reports showing how to protect yourself and fight off attacks by muggers, thieves, and rapists. But the main problem with many self-defense courses is unless a person has actually been attacked, there is no way for them to know what they would do in a real situation. We found a unique class where women experience an attack and how it feels to fight off the assailant.
Lisa, do you have any injuries? Remember to yell no and take the fall. Okay? Lisa's ready.
Breathe, Lisa. We're with you.
No!
Model mugging was started in 1971 by a man named Matthew Thomas in response to the brutal rape of a martial arts student. What Matthew found is that women need to learn to fight differently. They need to learn to fight from the ground and to use their hips where their power is. The tendency in our society is to say, stand up and fight like a man. And a woman is not built like a man. Men are strong in their upper bodies, while women are strong in their lower bodies and their hips. And so we teach the women to get down on the ground and fight like a woman. I think my philosophy and that of model mugging is that in order to really effectively defend yourself, you need to have done it. You need to have modeled the act of being assaulted and fighting back. As in other self-defense classes, what you learn is to pull your punch, per se, is to not go all the way through and not hit. And unless you do that, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it feels like to make contact, to really hit. So in model mugging, we model the way women are attacked, and that way the women get to model the way they fight back.
No, no, no!
The yelling is very important to model mugging. It's one of the fundamental parts, and the reason is that women who have been assaulted after taking model mugging said that what they heard was their classmates yelling with them, and yelling, no, bite, kick. And if she's ever afraid, she can bring that up again. And if she has to fight, she always has her classmates yelling with her. A very important metaphor in model mugging is that of the huntress. And the huntress is one who is strong and powerful and nurturing and loving and kind all together in one. And the huntress, when she is attacked or when her child's, her cub's lives are in danger, she will turn into the most dangerous of hunters. And that's the basis behind model mugging. You can be loving and nurturing and kind, but when your life or your loved one's lives are in danger, you had better be fierce.
Model muggers may or may not be the answer for you, but we have to find some way to let the muggers, rapists, and thieves know that women are going to fight back and that they can win. And we'll be right back to Fight Back as Fight Back continues. You, our viewers, say that we're just not making enough time on the show to look at more confusing and amusing labels and signs. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do some more. Kelly Jones of West Columbia, South Carolina, sent me some snapshots of this sign. It says, capacity, 10 people. And where does this sign appear? On a local landmark? No, it's on a portable toilet. Kelly finds this very unusual. Let's look into it. Well, Kelly, they were wrong. The occupancy isn't 10, it's 10 and a half. Actually, Kelly has the answer to this confusion in his letter. He continues to write, if you look closely, you will see that the small print explains that no more than 10 people should use the porta potty during a normal work week, which means that if you employ over 10 people, you would need an extra porta potty. Now, that is the most confusing label that I have ever seen on a can. And remember, you have to stay aware and informed and fight back. And don't let anyone rip you off. If you'd like to write the Fight Back, here's our address. Fight Back, Burbank, California, 91523.
Stand up and hold your ground.